Today's episode of Art of the Float is brought to you by Helmbot. As you are probably already aware, Helmbot is a scheduling software built for float centers that's not only for scheduling your float tanks, but it's also scheduling your employees. It's also a tool to communicate with your employees, to create tasks. There's a lot that Helmbot does. One of their latest updates is that now you can set a price point that people need to use for using a promo code. So spend $100 or more, you can use this promo code and get 30% off. Do whatever you want to do. It's customizable. It's lovely. Helmbot.com is where you want to go to check it out. We're also brought to you by Isopod. I-sopod.com is where you want to go to check out Isopod float tanks. Isopod float tanks are beautiful float tanks designed out of Europe that are incredibly spacious on the inside so that when anybody sees them, they are put at ease. They're also built incredibly well. They have quite an industrial build, which means that from the outside, they're easy to take care of. They don't break down. They're built well. I-sopod.com is where you want to go to check them out. I am a big fan. We now have 2 isopods at our float center. Let's go ahead and start the show. Welcome back to another episode of Art of the Float. Float 2022. Yeah, we're back, baby. We took a long hiatus there. We'll admit it. We needed a little downtime. We'll get more into that. But let's see here. My name's Dylan. I own the Float Shop in Portland, Oregon. We've been open for 10 years as of December, is that 14th, something like that. I am drinking a Fort George Stout at the moment. It is 8.8 alcohol by volume, 16 ounces. So this is my party episode. This is welcome back. This is not the episode to listen to if it's your first time listening to this podcast, or it's exactly the right episode to listen to if you're not super keen on actually learning float information and more so just learning who these wacky guests are. Because that's what we're going to be delving into and kind of recapping the closeout of the year for our businesses and stuff, and just talk about what's been going on for us. Gloria?
Hello, Gloria Morris here from Float 60, and we've been open 6 years in like 2 weeks. So I'm getting those memory photos popping up that show our construction in Chicago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been 6 years. So yeah, and I'm drinking. Are you ready for it? H2O.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Wow. I'm on my probably this
we
is probably
your
my
water
64th ounce right now that I'm sucking down, and yeah, hopefully I won't have to make a pit stop in the middle of this podcast.
It's always me doing the pit stop, so I will welcome anybody else saying we need to take a break. That's great.
And this is Drew from New Hampshire Float, and I have been open for 4 years in November, and I don't know what else. Oh, I'm drinking a margarita. I love tequila. I'm usually drinking a margarita or just sipping straight tequila. But
in general?
Well, no, not in general. And really, to be honest, I've been doing way less drinking lately, but this is my party night, is to do the podcast, have a drink, and whoop it up. So nice. Tequila it is.
Sweet.
Nice.
Love it.
And I'm Kim Hannon. I own Tsukino Float Center in Salt Cave in southern Indiana. I am triple fisting it tonight because I have water.
Very healthy. Good for you. Good for you too, Kim. Good for you.
My Zenify stress relief drink.
Good for you.
And I'm topping it off with a Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Peppermint Porter. Also in the 8.2-ish% range. So I'm with you, Dylan. It's going to be a good
porter.
night. Yeah.
It's delicious.
So good. So good.
Well, before we break down what's been going on with us and with you beautiful people, let's talk about the new option for listening to the podcast, shall we? And it's something we plan on doing all of 2022. Which is not just, Drew doesn't know about it.
What is this?
So we have to wear clothes
Dylan, what are we doing?
On the podcast?
Live reaction from the co-hosts. I can't wait to hear this
out in real time.
We're all learning together.
Kim's the only one who reads the show notes. It's great. So, Gloria, you are not required to wear clothes still. It's okay. I will fix
All
it in
right.
post. I will
Woo,
add pixels.
thank
It's all right.
goodness.
Yeah.
This is the only time I get to wear my birthday suit with Liberty.
Guys, I wish we could say we were only joking.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I'll write a book about the old episodes.
Right? There has been a little bit of skin shown on Drew. There's been a little skin on your camera in the past as well. My goodness, it's been
From
some
an
of those.
editing standpoint, we could just use the black bar,
Yeah.
right? Just put
The
it
whole
in
screen would be blacked out for me, Gloria. Come on.
What's he smoking? Put a black bar in front of it. It's fine. It's fine. Pixelate it. Let's see here. So we're video. Hey, look at us. We're on video now. You can actually look at us. We'll upload those on the YouTubes. And I'm sorry, Drew, I didn't tell you about that. But
Yeah, okay. Sorry for my appearance this evening, guys.
yeah,
Your hair is
we're
beautiful as always.
trying this out. We'll see how it goes. I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, let's see here. I guess since I'm already rambling, I'll just ramble some more. So I remodeled my kitchen, and we didn't pay anybody to install our cabinets. So that is literally what I've been doing throughout the holidays. And of course, like every remodel, it's not just, oh yeah, here your cabinets showed up and you install them. It's, oh, there's this problem and it leads to that problem. And it just like every construction job. And I mean, I do consulting work. I understand that everything takes longer than you expect it to. Yet here I was texting my buddy who just remodeled his kitchen, and it took months and months and months. And I was like, dude, they just showed up, easy peasy. They fit together. I'm going to have this done, by the end of the weekend, and then all finalized by Christmas. Well, as it turns out, our floor was higher up in the kitchen than the rest of the house, so I had to tear up all the subflooring, reinstall, do all this other stuff before even beginning in the installation. And we're still not done. We don't even have countertops yet.
And you chose to do this in the middle of the holidays.
Oh, Gloria, this is a public podcast, isn't it? I will then say my wife and I agreed to this equally. That is all I will say about that. We agreed to this. Yes.
We agreed to you doing this over
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did sign up for it. She wanted to do it, and I was like, you know what, babe, let's just do it. And that's what I've been doing for a long time now. And then I got COVID. I think it was Omicron Prime, and it kind of sucks. It didn't seem that bad, other than the brain fog was insane, and I couldn't get any work done. I couldn't write emails back. I couldn't focus on anything, and towards the end, I had a lot of kind of joint pain or tendon pain, and tons of body weakness and fatigue. So much fatigue. But mainly, if you were like single, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But trying to parent two kids who don't really have a lot of the effects was pretty brutal. So that, I will say, has led to this podcast being delayed further into 2022 than I anticipated. Drew even recorded a bonus episode with the FTA that was supposed to be released last year, and I feel really bad about it. That will be released, but it won't be as timely, which I feel like a big asshat about. But I have had a hard time focusing for a long time now. It's lasted way too long. So anyway, that's what's going on with me, and a little bit of the old pod as well.
Incredible.
Gloria?
Well, I am so, like I said, happy to be back, because I feel like it's been so long since I've connected with you guys, and it's really therapy for me to get on this podcast.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a blur. I think after the Float conference, we had a couple months of steady shows, and then I got right into the holidays. We had a couple of holiday episodes, and we had a great holiday. So we're finally at the point, you guys, where I have like the full staff, and we're not scrambling back and forth to find people.
Nice.
So
Congrats.
that
Big
has just
congrats.
been such a huge thing. But yeah, I've been nesting. And no, I'm not having a baby. I'm
Well,
way
yeah,
too
that's
old for
my-
that. But I've been nesting. I've been cleaning closets and like spring cleaning, even though it's, it was December.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means. It's like I'm getting ready for something else. Do you guys have any ideas?
Well, I mean, you might want to take a test. I mean, you never know.
Yeah. Sounds pregnant to me, Gloria.
Well, you are glowing tonight. I mean, there's a chance.
I
And-
definitely know that I am not. I was not that. But yeah, it certainly felt like that. I had that flashback because I remember being like that 20 some years ago. But yeah,
But
guys.
aren't you guys in the middle of opening yet another business though with your husband? So
Yes.
You got a lot on your
It's
plate.
a new
you
one
are
on the way.
kind of
Yes.
birthing another baby.
You know what? Good
Less
point.
painful, baby. Hopefully.
Good point. Yes, yes. This is true. We purchased this crazy existing business. It was like a miniature golf course, batting cages, go-karts. We actually have 10. No, I think we have 12 go-karts, you guys.
So cool.
Whirly ball,
You gotta
what?
come and visit me. We're gonna brand one Float 60, of course, but maybe you guys can come and visit, and we'll give you some batting lessons, some catching lessons, and
Oh,
we
man.
have a dome. So my husband's in the baseball industry, for those that don't know, and gosh, we have all kinds of kids coming through there. So it's open, but I am working on a special portion of the project, so I am kind of heads down in that, in addition
Wow.
to working my full-time job. So
Okay.
yeah,
I knew about
maybe
the
that's
business purchase. I didn't realize that you were, actively a part of it.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a couple endeavor.
Yikes.
I'm not teaching baseball, but
Yeah.
like I set up the payroll system yesterday. I set him up on all of the systems. So I'm kind of behind the scenes. I built the website and just handed that off to somebody else. So yeah.
So is this the
I'm
first
active.
time you and your husband are working together on a business?
Well, I'm just kind of acting as a management consultant, going
Nice.
in and kind of helping him with, processes and, working with the construction guys and things like
Oh,
that.
wow.
But I'm all behind the scenes. I pop in, and check on things, and have been ordering banners and things like that. But, I'm involved.
Can I jump in? I have a question because so there was a mini golf course there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I saw that there was a ferry on like one of the holes and
Yes.
does the ferry actually work? Like, could someone put it in water and it'll float, or is it full? Like, someone's just gonna put it somewhere as a decoration?
So what
This
he's
is-
talking about, so,
this
it's
is it.
Yeah,
an
sorry.
18-hole miniature golf course, right?
Yeah.
And when you go to a miniature golf course, there's all the obstacles
Oh,
and
yeah.
little houses. And so the ferry boat, like it's like a beautiful like river boat. It was the 18th hole. So that was the one where you hit the blast ball, it goes down underneath. And actually, it's not a floating boat. So no, Drew. But
Okay.
what it was, it actually had steam coming up the things on top. And it also housed all the electric that lit up the golf course. So it was kind of like, but oh my gosh, we had an auction for all this stuff because we had a full arcade and we had all these games and skee ball and it took forever for the guy who purchased the boat to get that out of here. It just happened last week, and they literally brought a
my goodness.
crane in, lifted it up. Crazy. A little gazebo, and this boat was flying through the air, and we finally got it out of there. So that'll eventually be like all excavated and leveled and turned into a baseball field.
Nice.
Do you know what the guy's doing with the ferry?
I think that he bought it in the auction and was selling it at the same time he was bidding on it. So
No
he
way.
flipped it.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a ferry market out there.
Yeah,
That's
the
I
awesome.
ferry.
didn't either. There's some
Everyone
show
wins.
called Storage Wars. Have you guys ever watched that show? No, it's
heard
not
of it.
Storage Wars, Shipping Wars.
Oh,
Yes, both. Yeah.
Yeah. So he entered it in that show.
no
Oh my
way.
gosh.
It's so impossible to ship, but I don't think it made it there. But yeah, we literally just got rid of it last week. So yes, Drew, it's been quite an interesting project. But this is probably the
That's
biggest
awesome.
project I've ever been involved in.
Yeah, what's it?
Wow.
10 acres or something?
It's 8.5 acres.
8.5 acres?
my
Yeah.
goodness.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. So it's tough because it's a 20-year-old business and we have to, invest so much just to get it up to a standard, right? Before we even improve it and make it cool. We have to redo the parking lot. We have to do,
Oh my God.
the HVAC system over. And so it's
Okay.
tough.
I got a way to tie this into the float world. I have a
Okay.
question because I know Kim is, and Dylan, you can edit this if this isn't appropriate. I know Kim is thinking about her future at her current
Drew,
location.
come on, not cool, not cool.
He's spilling my secrets. Go for it. Go for
And
it.
so a question, Gloria, is how is Robert managing trying to build the new place while having his business running? Does he still have his old space and it's still operating out of the old space, or is he having to shut down right now? Is the new space have some spots that are active and he can use? How does that work for someone trying to, because he has a current location, but is, you know, you guys just bought your own, so he's now taking his business to a new location, which in the float world, there's definitely people who have either done that or are thinking about doing something like that. So how does that, how is
It's a
he
great
doing
question and a great tie-in. We actually put a bid in on this location in 2017 to buy this parcel of land. So he was kind of planning this, and he was able to get out of his lease early and basically start the process. It took 3 weeks for them to get the batting cages out and install them in the dome, because we have this big, huge dome, right? So we were able to move in there. The whole operation moved in within like 3 weeks. That was in November. So it was crazy. So we really didn't miss a beat. I have to give him credit for kind of thinking through. I thought it was very aggressive, and I'm aggressive, right? Like,
Right,
and I'm
yeah.
like, dude, like, is that enough time? Like, we don't want to do things half-assed, but you know, they understand it's a work in progress. But yeah, he's fully operational over there. The parking
That's
lot
awesome.
was full, you know, the whole month of December, basically, with camps and lessons and whatnot. But as it relates to, and I can speak to this now, batting cages pale in comparison to float tanks. So I have had the luxury and privilege of closing a float center and ripping float tanks out. And I can assure you, it is not for the faint of heart. I've used that expression before. It is a nightmare. And once you start moving tanks out, there's all kinds of damage you have to repair. And so, you know, you're going to have to think about, I don't know if we're talking about this out loud, but for those of you considering moving your float center,
I don't understand.
company excluded, it's a lot to take in. That's for sure.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
that
what
sounds
I
like
would
hell on
recommend-
earth.
I know
Gloria.
someone who's got some float tanks in storage. Wink, wink. I'd be willing to ship them to this said person, let them build their new one, and just, you know, get rid of their old one.
Wow, it's like that.
Yeah. Something
Yeah.
to think about.
I would never want to move my center just
It's a
because of
nightmare.
that. It
really
just sounds
is,
like
you
hell
guys.
on earth. Why live through that?
Yeah.
Anyway, Kim, how are you doing?
But
I don't know anything about what you guys are talking about.
doom and gloom. Sometimes
Doom
you
and
have to
gloom.
take a step backwards to move forward, and
sure.
sometimes that's the stuff you have to go through to advance and to put yourself in a better situation financially.
You know, to actually be a business podcast, Drew is absolutely correct. I think I was being a little too casual there. You're absolutely right, Drew.
Well, and
But it would
one
suck.
thing I can add
Yeah.
that should weigh into this person's decision. The anxiety that you have to close a center and make that move, it's overwhelming, right? and
It's
it's certainly with
crazy,
me,
yeah.
like I was closing the center permanently, right? Only permanently for a couple months until I found a different location. But it's never as bad as you think it is. When you start moving stuff, you just start moving stuff. It's just like moving out of a house. It sucks. It's a lot of work, but you have your momentum, you've got your excitement, and I say go for it.
Yeah. So I'll share, because you guys are just tiptoeing
Put the
around it
pressure
here.
cooker on you.
Sorry.
No, it is super timely. I posted in the Float Collective about it the other day that, so we had a really awesome 2021. And we are at the point, like, we need to grow. And so we've been expanding our hours. We've been hiring new team members. We've been doing like all of that kind of stuff. And so now we're in the decision process to start like making plans. Our lease is up at our space mid-June of 2023. And so we have a few months now to decide. And if we do decide that we need to move at the end of that lease, then that means, of course, finding another location, starting the approval process to get finances, and then actually doing the construction. So we want to leave about a year for that process if we decide to go down that route. We're exploring a whole bunch of options right now. One of those is opening a second location rather than walking away from that investment that we have right now. We're also toying with like, what if we moved? And, so I'm sure over the next few months, I'll have a lot to say about this. I met with some friends today who also have wellness businesses, and we've always dreamed about being in a space together. One is actually in our building right now, but because our building is 3 stories, we don't see each other. Like, we don't interact. Our guests use separate doors. Like, it's not that like cohesive flow that we had really, really dreamed of and thought we were going to get. And so we're trying to figure out, like, would it make sense to go that direction, to share a space together, and with another practitioner as well. But we're all kind of leaning towards moving in together in some way, but I have to figure out financially, what does that mean for location number 1 that is a success? And I know sometimes whenever you open that second one, if your attention's not on the first, then it can start to struggle. And I don't want that to happen either. So a lot of decisions to make.
Well, let me make it easy for you.
6 months. Yes.
I have an Orion, an Aphelion, 2 wave rooms, and a zero body. You can have them. You can have them. Just take them.
I'm definitely taking the other waves. Let me just say that. Okay.
Okay.
I love you, Gloria.
Take them. Yeah. I mean, I'll expect a little kickback at some point.
We'll hook you up.
Wow.
Yes.
At the end, she asked for a kickback.
Just wet her beak.
We talked about this.
Yours.
Yes.
But I'm
Oh,
not
gosh.
joking. And we're just a skip and a jump away from each other, right? For those that don't know, Kim and I are both Indiana Hoosiers. And I live at the top of the state. She lives at the bottom of the state. So this is a real easy decision for you, Kim. No pressure.
As far as we can go. Yeah.
How far of a drive is it?
5.5 hours.
5.5, yeah.
Indiana's that big?
Yeah.
Why aren't you guys meeting for drinks more often? That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, we do
did.
like every other week.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. But why not more frequently?
Yeah, she's on the Kentucky border. I'm on the Illinois border. So
So this is a
border. So
This is a permanent recording, Gloria. If Kim doesn't take you up on that, are those up for anybody else, our listeners, to then?
no, this
I
is
got
a Kim
dibs.
deal. This is a Kim
Exclusive.
deal.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Dibs.
I did
Yeah.
have somebody that was looking, and I didn't even put it out. Just somebody that kind of knew what was going on. But yeah, I didn't make the move.
2 things real quick. One is I, while being sick, haven't imbibed alcohol for a long time. So this is hitting me way faster and harder than I anticipated. I'm just going to put that out there.
Cheers.
Second, cheers to that. Second, just right out of the gate, like no more discussion of the logistics and everything. Do you think Kim should open a second float center, or should she shut hers down and move on to a whole new location? Because I have
an opinion.
Please.
Who wants to go first?
I have an opinion as well.
Go
Love
ahead,
you
Drew.
guys.
That's why we make the big bucks. Great. Let's do Drew first.
Drew,
go
All
ahead.
right. This is what you do. You figure out how to buy your own place. You rent out to that person upstairs, maybe some other people. If you need help financially, you ask people. It's not impossible to find investors who would help with that. Cough, cough. And
Wow.
I think that the move would be you do your big move, your big permanent move. You find a space that you can call your own. I know about some of the stuff behind the scenes. I'm not sure what has been shared, so I don't want to say too much about it, but I know that if you owned your space, there's a bunch of problems that you would not be dealing with, and you'd have a lot more control of things. And if you're going to make a move, if you do, it would be my encouragement to do what you got to do to figure out, even if it's very difficult, to purchase your place, and you won't have to do it again for the next 20 years. And if you
that
do
is
go,
another option.
and if you were to move it all and rent again, you could there's a chance you run into some of those issues at another spot, right? So
Right.
I think that would be option A, if that is possible. And I would say don't discount that, because you might know people that would be interested in investing in stuff like that.
Awesome.
That's
He's
my
winking
thoughts.
and nodding for anybody
That's
who's
my
not
thoughts.
watching.
I love the fact that we have two polar opposite ideas, although I am 150% on board with buying your own place. Hands down. Especially
Yeah.
in a region where you live, where, it's not a city, where it's just almost impossible to do that. You are in a region where it would make a lot of sense. And so I think from a long-term investment perspective, that makes total sense. I believe with your brains and Graham's beauty, you can make this thing work together. Like
pretty.
what you said earlier as a concern, I don't see that as a concern with the two of you. And Graham
Yeah.
is awesome. I'm just being, facetious. He's kind of in the operation. You're doing your business. I mean, if anybody can make it work with a second location, because of the templates you have put in place and the processes and procedures for the first one, you will be successful in scaling. But you have to make them far apart enough to not cannibalize each other.
Yeah.
And, maybe build the second one if you buy a building or whatnot. Build it with the intention to eventually move this one over. But I think you could do it. I think you can buy a building, open a second one, see how it goes, and be prepared to cut bait with the last one and just move on.
Interesting. Dylan.
What's the point of me even talking at this point? Drew got me with the buying part. Like whenever I talk to a new float center and they're buying the property, I'm just like so happy and excited for them. Outwardly, inward, I'm seething and jealous and just a very shallow person, because we have pretty good landlords, but man, it comes with a lot of hitches, and there's a lot of conversations about who's in charge of what, who owes for what. A lot of things come up, and I've heard a few horror stories as well of just it's absolutely not worth it to have a landlord anymore. So if you can be your own landlord, oh my God. I mean, just owning property in general is a great thing. Gloria, did you, what?
Yeah, okay. So, I've had 5 commercial leases in my life now. Okay. And one of them was an absolute nightmare. Okay. So I'm totally on board with, getting rid of landlords. However, I can talk now with 6-7 months under my belt as a landowner. You have to be really prepared to shell out money for things that will absolutely not be noticed. They will be expected. Like, case in point, the parking lot. Okay.
Sure.
A parking lot, and I'm just giving you a number. Like, I wouldn't normally bring this up, but I think it's a really relevant example. Just to get the parking lot in decent shape at this location, it's going to cost us over $117,000.
But
So-
how many parking spots are on there, though? Like 100
There,
parking
I don't even
spots?
know. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's probably a couple
But
hundred
it's just
parking
an example,
spots.
okay?
Yeah.
Because
It's
That is-
crazy
yeah.
expensive.
when something breaks, like system wide,
Sure.
you have to spend money on the infrastructure of the building, and your guests do not see that. It's an expectation that toilets work, stairs don't
Yeah.
creak, all that stuff that is more structural, that falls on you, and it is scary.
Stairs
right?
don't
Like,
squeak. I can go to my landlord about squeaky stairs? What?
well, that was probably a dumb example, but I was just thinking like all the things we have to worry about
Yeah.
as float center owners. It's like your problem then, but it's good and bad. But I'm telling you, like
So
after buying this building, like I'm excited, but at the same time, it's like wow.
And I think that's part of doing the due diligence. And
Yes.
when I bought my unit, my heating system was old, my water system was old. I had to replace those, and it was thousands of dollars. Good thing is, don't have to worry about those for 10 to 15 years, right? So that's part of, I knew my system was the original system from 1988. That thing had to go at some point. So that's also part of the due diligence and negotiating. Hey, I'm going to have to replace this and replace that. I've lucked out that I'm in a commercial condo spot. I don't know if they have those in Kentucky, but I'm part of a condo board. So if their roof goes, the whole condo pays for it, and I just pay my condo dues. But yeah, Gloria's right. Once it's yours, if it's a standalone building, you're responsible for the roof. You're responsible for the parking lot. But again, assuming you make that happen once, hopefully you don't have to do that again for the next 10 years and you're good and you're gaining equity in that business. And if you ever go to sell your business 20 years from now, when you're looking to leave Kentucky and go to Florida and hang out with Gloria on the beach. Leave Indiana. Sorry, you drink Kentucky bourbon so much. I just think you're from Kentucky. So
She's basically in Kentucky. Let's face it. But
So-
Kim, the other thing, and you, I'm sure know all this, but the SBA has wonderful programs for land-based businesses or mixed-use complexes. The 504. The great thing about owning a business building is when you go to sell it, it doesn't really matter if they want your float tank business, right? Let's face it, there's a lot of float tank businesses out there for sale, and we're not going to get the money that we think they're worth, right? So thinking the long game, because we're not getting any younger. I know I'm the oldest one out of the four of us, but I think, 20 years down the road now, and I think it's a no-brainer for you to buy.
Yeah.
I know
I think
a couple of folks that will pitch in a couple of bucks.
Yeah, I think my dream scenario would be that we open a second location, we buy it and open that building, invite a couple of very, very carefully selected folks into the space. And then if our building does come up for sale from our original location, maybe we buy that one as well. I don't know. That one is such an up in the air. Like, there have been rumors that the building will come for sale at a certain point, and then talk about, no, that's not going to happen, but yeah, it will, but no, it won't. And so, and those decisions won't be made until probably a year after our lease is up. And so we'll stay there, likely through at least that point. But there are so many unknowns. But I know we need a bigger space. We have a few issues that we want to get away from in our current space, like our construction and our actual build out. There's very little I would change. What little bit I would change is like such nitpicky sort of preference-y stuff. But our build out was just phenomenal. And that part, I'm like, I can't walk away from that. But the great thing is our contractor has already said he's in to do it again. If we ever want to open a second location, he's there for us. And that's huge. He already knows it.
Did you even want to use the contractor that you used in the first place?
Yeah, that's
a lottery ticket. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And we would 100% do it again and bring him in. He knows what to do. And he loved the project. And that really showed, I think, through the whole thing, is how much love he poured into the whole project, not just from, us being there, but he got it. He did his research, and he was amazing. Loving. So.
I just want to throw out there, I forgot that I had looked into, I think I had spoke about it on a previous podcast, but that SBA 504 loan, my bank was going to, when I was looking to open another location, they wanted 15% down. And that included a build out, like a construction loan. So wow. I didn't need to do 20% for the building and then 20% for the construction loan. It was 15% down for the building and the loan to build. So
that's good to know.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind. And and again, Kim, that especially with stuff you've gone through already, that it is better if you owned your own space, if you can make that happen. It's a lot easier said than done, but, you're a very smart cookie, and you have a lot of people around you that I just think outside of the box is, I guess, what I would say, encourage you to do, because I think you could make things happen if you decided you wanted to make them happen.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, guys.
So
and
you guys,
we'll have so much more about this later.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not ready to move on just yet. But so I don't think I ever fully answered, but that's fine because Gloria and Drew gave way better answers than I probably could have. But my question is more an exploratory question of, you do Mindful, that's 2Ls, dot solutions, that's helping other float centers and other businesses with all sorts of things about media oriented and networking, social media. How much energy will a second location, whether it's moving or opening a second location, will that take away from that business? And how much attention do you need to put into that to grow? Or is it already a self-sustaining organism? Because there's only so much time in the day. Even though you insanely have an ability to just do everything always, which I have no feelings about whatsoever, but...
I think it's constant like prioritization, you know, and our first center is running so smoothly. We have an amazing team member there, but I also know like you can't put too much stock in relying on employees because you just never know when things are going to change or something's going to happen in their life and they need to change, you know, directions or whatever. So we also know that, but and part of it is like putting some additional security measures in place so that that one can continue to run so smoothly, but to still be able to be there when needed and all of that. My goal is honestly like that within a couple of months, I don't go work shifts at the center anymore, so that I can start to focus on this other piece and like the growth and the expansion. I'm also growing and expanding Mindful Solutions. And so like, you know, bringing more people in to help with some of that for my consulting work. I already have a team of 5 folks now on the Mindful side of things.
Whoa.
And really awesome, by the way.
Yeah. Yes.
How many on the solutions side? I'm sorry, such a bad joke. Please continue.
Yes, but growing that team, growing the team that, you know, helps at the center and getting all of that so that I can be a little bit more involved in a startup again, because those first couple of years they're intense, but I'm also at the point right now where I could handle that. Give me, you know, a few more years and I may not be in a position that we could take on something additional. But if we do a second location, it will likely be closer to my house, which granted, it only takes me like 16, 20 minutes to get to the center from where I live. But we're talking like that could be 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
You know? So yeah, that would be lovely. Smaller towns are so nice for some things. Yeah.
Cheaper real estate's one of them.
Right.
Much cheaper.
Speaking of which, I have to share this. This was so refreshing. So after we closed the South Loop and, you know, we had the opportunity to open a new one from Dan Dickey's location, Theta State in Chesterton, Indiana, I went down to the town hall and I had my checkbook. I was about to go register for my business license. I was ready to write the check, you know, a couple $100. And they looked at me like, oh, it's free. I'm like, what? You don't charge for business licenses? Like, there's no cost to running a business there. It's unbelievable, you guys. So
it's crazy how things vary from community to community.
Right? Like, I'm just so used to Chicago and being charged for every little thing.
Yeah, they're gangsters running Chicago.
It's
That's
crazy,
why.
right? So,
crooked gangsters. I know a little bit about Chicago. Similar to Boston. You got to pay to play. Everything.
It's been a crazy time to operate a business in the city of Chicago. There's no question about it. But it's so nice. I'm so happy to have like 2 locations in Indiana and 2 in Illinois. It's just such a crazy difference, right, in terms of the support, the Chamber of Commerce. Like, we know everyone at the Chamber of Commerce. Everybody knows us. It's like small town. It's literally like Mayberry. It's unbelievable.
It is.
There. I love it.
Yeah, everybody who comes in is like, they knew such and such who came in and or if I'm out at like having coffee, then I'm going to run into our clients. I'm going to run into, local promoters or like event planners or whatever. And it really is wild. So nice. I haven't experienced that since I was a kid and I grew up in a small town, but now like to be in this city where and people know me and recognize me, which is super weird to just be walking through the farmer's market and they're like, hey, you're that Float Center girl.
How about that sexy magazine shoot you just did?
What was that about?
Girlfriend.
Yeah, that was wild. Speaking of everybody knowing people. On. I did. Isn't that weird? Yeah.
You didn't use the makeup wipes.
And you had like Drew hair in that cover.
I swear, I think the photographer took like I don't know, 200 pictures of me. Just, she had my hands like behind my hair, and she's like, just hold your hair like this. And I was like, oh my God, but my hands are floating through my hair. And she just didn't quite understand it. And it was funny because she kept telling me to like turn my face even more. And I was like, no, honey, eyes do not go in the salt water. But she did such a great job. Like she started
magical. I loved
getting
it,
really
loved it.
excited. Yeah, thank you.
So speaking of photography, Dylan, I know I've been hounding you. For those of you that do not subscribe to the Patreon for Art of the Float photography. I mean, you guys, there are so many amazing pictures. And just so that you know, I don't know what you're doing there, by the way. It's freaking me out. Our Lake Zurich location, we have this huge white wall behind our front desk. So we've been looking for the right picture of a floating guy to put on this massive wall. So that's why we asked. And I just wanted to give you that shout out, Dylan, because the work you put into those photos is unbelievable.
Aw, shucks. Thanks. So what, you said you want to put a male floater up on the wall? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to go in that direction. I loved one of the mock-ups that we had. I'll have to send it to you, but I don't know that Gibson Martin, my studio manager, wants to turn around and have like his eye shot at the guy's like midsection every time. So I'm not sure he's buying into the idea, but I love really it. Funny. But he has to work there every day. So I'm going to kind of soak it in and look at some other options. But yeah, I have this vision of just having this pop wall and that blue background.
That'd be
and
so
just
fun.
That
and you want to use one of our photos? Is that what you're saying?
Didn't I make myself clear?
Well, sorry. Yeah, cool. Yay. Wow. That's great. That's really
the goal.
exciting.
That's the goal.
All right.
And at some point, you're going to have...
We may not, so don't get your hopes up.
Great. All right. Fine.
At some point, I'm probably going to have at least one of your photos on our vehicle.
Nice.
That's in the plans for this year, is to Tsukino-fy the SUV that we have. So
you got to do it.
Well,
best investment ever, you guys, is to wrap a vehicle.
Is that true?
Oh, for sure. Okay. We have 2 vans. They get so much attention. It's unbelievable. And it's the most, especially if you have a second location, Kim, it's a must. Driving salt between. I mean, it's so practical. It's a moving billboard. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But then you can't cut people off, you know?
I drive too much like an asshole.
Totally. I've got that problem. Yep.
Yeah.
Graham will be driving it, and he is a safe, good driver. I have a heavy foot. Like, I want to get somewhere and get some stuff done, and he's super chill about it. And so he'll be the one typically driving it. So I think it'll be all right. But we had to put some thought into that too.
Shoot, Gloria, I had a question for you, and now I can't remember what it was about photography stuff. Because, I mean, photography, you piqued my interest talking about that. But Kim, with the wraparound, gosh, maybe I can't think of anything. Oh, yeah, what I was going to say was I always want to be like, wait for the next photo set that's going to come out. Because I feel like my photography progresses over time. And maybe you can't see it exactly every shoot to shoot, but over months and years, you can definitely see growth in it.
Absolutely.
And my understanding of usage and location of lights and brightness levels and stuff like that. And then, of course, colors as well has dramatically grown. But I mean, just since you mentioned me, I'll use this as a time to plug some of my stuff. One is artofthefloat.pixieset.com, or is it? Yeah. artofthefloat.pixieset.com, or you can just go to Art of the Float and find it through that as well. Is where you can find many previous sets, but they are more expensive than signing up for the other option, which is Patreon/Art of the Float. Excuse me, patreon.com/Art of the Float. That's that 8.8 ounce alcohol, 16 ounces, affecting me here, which is takes you to basically like a subscription for photos, video clips, and athletic models as well, scientific blog posts, all the stuff that you can do to feed into your social media and your online presence. So I'll just mention all of that stuff. And yeah, it seems like every time I'm editing a set, I'm like, oh my God, there's new cool stuff here that I can't wait for people to see. So Kim, I'm like, don't choose anybody yet. Wait till my next set comes out because there's some rockin' stuff. But yeah, anywho. So thanks for the plug, Gloria.
No.
And you better use one of my photos, I swear.
I'm telling you, if we
don't.
do it, of course I will. But I'm not sure we're going to go through with that plan. We might just do a logo. But yeah, good
Oh, okay.
times. Good
Well,
times. It's. I finally feel like I'm paying attention to Lake Zurich because we bought Lake Zurich right at the beginning of COVID,
Yeah.
March 1st of 2020, and so I had no no bandwidth or ability really to focus on it, and here we are now.
Drew, do you want to cue us in on anything that's been going on with you? What have you been up to? How were your holidays?
Holidays were good.
Like your personal holiday. Like, did you
Personal holiday.
have a good?
So I guess a lot of people know I train jujitsu, but I stopped training around Thanksgiving because I didn't want to ruin Christmas. I didn't want to be the guy to catch COVID and then have to cancel Christmas. That was great, but 6 out of 7 of my employees since December 1st have caught COVID. Not that I want to turn this into a COVID discussion because I'm so burnt out with it, but everybody got it. And only one person's full-time, everyone's part-time. So New Hampshire at one point was leading the country in new COVID cases. And like everyone out here has got it since December 1st, including myself. Yeah, I had a little bit of a problem, but nothing major, and I bounced back pretty good. But it definitely wreaked havoc through the shop. I had to work like all the hours since December 1st. I have been working on, getting a rental property going up in the White Mountains up here in New Hampshire. So I've been trying to focus on that quite a bit. The business itself is going well, but I'm doing that. I've snowboarded 5 times in the last 2 weeks, which is more than what I had done since I've opened the business. And I had multiple times where I was flying down the mountain. I was going so fast and I felt so alive and I was screaming and no one was around and I had headphones on and I was just hooting and I'm flying.
See your hair. You just giving me this amazing visual of your wild hair.
Boom. Laying down some sick turns. Yeah. So I've enjoyed myself more in the last 2 weeks than I have in like the previous 3 years. So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to work smarter and not harder and enjoy life a little bit more and, just kind of trying to stay focused on that stuff. Although while COVID happened, it was a great reminder for me that when people get sick and they're employees and they don't work, then it falls on my shoulders and I have to work. And, one of the things I did while I was working that I had been neglecting, I took the opportunity and the time I came up with a really good employee handbook. I came up with I'm almost done with it, my manual, some things that I really had kind of been neglecting. And I was kind of bored and said, this is probably my time to do these things. And I think I definitely suffered over the summer from... I feel like it's like a wave around the 4-year mark that owners of float centers who've been operating them kind of get burnt out and you get your employees going and you start to be less and less involved. And I definitely learned that lesson that I need to be more involved and the place is going to run better when I'm more involved. Right?
It's a pendulum.
Yeah.
Until you find that right balance, it is. You're going to swing, and it's going to feel great over here for a while, and then you're going to swing over here.
And more attention. So
Yeah. And you can think everything's fine, and every piece of evidence you have says everything's fine, and it's really not, right? So... learning a lot of those lessons and now trying to get more things in writing and more official and have written stuff that I previously didn't. And so I've definitely made some progress with that. It's an interesting time, I think, for me personally, because I have other interests and I'm exploring those. And, when I'm actually in the float center, things are great. But when I'm not in the float center, things are great too. So I'm trying to find that balance. And yeah, just trying to survive the winter up here and snowboard as much as I can. That's what I've been doing. I snowboard by myself with headphones on, and I don't talk to anyone all day long, and I don't have service on my phone, and it's awesome. I've really enjoyed it. And so I think, yeah, no major complaints, and the future is bright. I'm happy with the year that we had last year, especially coming out of COVID. You know, pretty much anything would have been better than a COVID year, but, you know, no major complaints. Life is good, and looking forward to the future here in 2022. Positive vibes only.
Nice.
I think, you know, what you said there, Drew, about like getting to enjoy life. I think as entrepreneurs, we often forget that piece of it, about how important that is, and that is fuel for you to be a better leader and fuel to be a better business owner. And, you know, we preach it all the time to our clients and to our guests who are coming in, and like, we are the worst at taking our own medicine. That's one of my goals for this year too, is to really like remember to take a break. And, I am notorious for like, oh, I've got like 20 minutes until my next thing. I'm going to go get started on it. And the next thing you know, it's been like 3 hours. And so I'm intentionally trying to schedule trips and schedule breaks that like actually remove me from my environment. I could say that I'm going to take a day off, but I won't. Like if I'm home, I'm either going to be asleep or working, and, you know, or playing with the kids during their little short window of time that they're home. But if I'm here, otherwise, like, that's what I'm doing. And Graham and I took our first like vacation together for the first time in 4 years.
With no
And
hitches.
So
everything
happy
went
that you-
4 years. Yeah, no hitches. I mean, I had a black eye. I got the flu while we were there. Barely made it back to
Tell us
Mexico.
more about the black eye. I
Oh,
need
yeah.
to understand.
And wasn't it
Something
two
with
black
Saran
eyes?
wrap. What the
It
hell?
It was one black eye. And
It was
since
one,
we
okay.
actually have video capabilities now, I will show you guys what my black eye looked like, because it's healed and I'm okay now. But y'all,
Oh, yeah.
that was
We'll post that on social media for sure.
that was like
That's awesome.
day 2 or so. It got worse during the healing process for sure. But so we had our little Christmas thing with Graham's family, and every other year or so we do it on New Year's Eve instead of like right around Christmas. And so this is our New Year's Eve year, and it's actually so much fun because his siblings come in, we bring the kids, we all just basically camp out at his mom's house for 3 or 4 days.
Nice.
And you know, we have the kids who do their gift exchange during the daytime, then the adults do theirs at night, and then we stay up all night. Like, she gets an RV and parks it in front of her house in a neighborhood that hates that, and they go crazy, and she gets threats every year, but we do it anyway.
Nice. Good.
And
Love it.
that's our party bus. So once we reach a certain hour inside, we go outside and continue just hanging out. We play card games, drinking games, whatever, and it's adults only at that point, and like, so much fun. But this year, my brother-in-law's girlfriend introduced the Saran wrap game. And if you're not familiar with that, basically there's a whole bunch of prizes, and you take like 3 boxes of Saran wrap or something, and you start wrapping the prizes in the Saran wrap, and you keep wrapping, and the ball gets like really, really big. And during the game, you're rolling the dice. One person's rolling the die, and then the person behind them is like unraveling. And when the other person hits doubles, then they have to stop and pass it to the next person. You get anything that came out while you're unraveling. So my husband is like, I don't know, the first or second person. I'm trying to roll the die, which means I have to like lean forward, and we're sitting in a circle on the ground. And as I lean forward, it's wild. People are yelling and screaming, and like, his hand comes up right as I leaned down, and he just nailed me right in the top of the cheek. Within a minute or two, I had what was like a thumbprint bump, like a little thumb climbing out of my eye. I iced it, but then the next day I walked in, and because I was sleeping in the RV, like, I didn't see myself in the mirror. I came in, a few too many cocktails, I'm sure, but walked in, and everybody stopped talking. They all just looked at me like, oh, wow. And sure enough, full black eye. And then the real fun of all of this, that was on New Year's Eve. So on the 1st, I wake up like with a black eye. And then we were leaving on the 4th to travel out of the country. Yeah. And flying and trying to hide a black eye and like act like it was no big deal. And of course I'm going to the beach where I don't want to wear makeup, but I had to load on makeup every day to try to hide it. And
I would have definitely looked at Graham a little sideways if I saw you two together.
Well, the worst part was when we arrived in Mexico, we got off the plane and the line at immigration was so long, and I don't do well in crowds, and they had turned off the escalators because the line was so bad. And so we went down the stairs, and as soon as we hit the bottom of the stairs, like it hit, and I had a panic attack, like full on anxiety as we're going through. And so my natural tendency is like, okay, I know we have to get through this. So I had a backpack on. I flipped my backpack around. So it was on the front, like kind of shielding me. And I tucked my head down. I would not look up because if I see the crowd of people, I lose it. And so I would not look up. I was just looking down, and then I'm crying. I have a black eye. I'm having a massive panic attack. I can't speak to anybody. And so Graham and I both were apparently getting quite a few looks. Poor man, he's like rubbing my back and, you know, like just trying to console me and keep me moving through this whole situation while people are looking at him like, what is going on? What did you do to her? It was awful. So awful. So awful.
I'm so glad that it's healed. I'm so glad that the story you've made up seems believable.
But
you look radiant tonight, and Graham, we've got our eye on you.
Oh, jeez. Come on.
Let me tell you, that poor man felt so bad for like. Of course, we were all laughing and giving him a hard time about it, but that man, I don't think I've ever seen him feel as bad as he felt. Like he was distraught.
Interesting. It's not like you just fell down and actually hit a doorknob. He did cause that.
Yeah. So if you see him and you say something and he cracks, like you'll know why. But now I think he's laughing about it. We're trying to get him there. I'm laughing about it because it was wild, except for the panic attack part that I could have done without. But
well, guys, before as we start wrapping up the show here, Ben Affleck wasn't able to make it tonight, but we have another
That's the second time he's canceled on us.
I know. We'll get him on. We'll get him on. He's busy, but he wants to join. He does want to join. Ben Affleck wasn't able to make it, but I'm really, really excited to say, of equal or greater value guest, we have on Brian Van Pesky. You know the name. Hey, Brian.
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
The man who needs no introduction.
Yeah, I apologize for the background noise. Dylan pulled me in during a dog walk.
Nice.
Hi, Vaughn.
nice.
Yeah.
Vaughn, a little head rub for me.
Okay, will do, man.
America's most beautiful dog. Yeah. Or at least photogenic. And Brian might have something to do with him coming across so well on the old Instagram. But so for anybody who doesn't know, I mean, this is our 2022 show. This is our opener. And I just want to, I think another unsung hero besides like the spouses who are with the family during these recordings and making sure that everything else goes on while we record. The other unsung hero is Brian behind the scenes here, who, every time those photos from Patreon show up in your inbox, anytime, I mean, anything technical, believe me, it's not me doing it. It's Brian behind the scenes, and he is co-owner of Art of the Float. We started this together, I don't know, was it like 6 or 7 years ago, something like that?
It's crazy to think about how long we've been doing this, man.
Yeah,
it really is.
He ran into the float shop with his 5-finger toed Vibrams on, and I was like, I need to hang out with this guy a lot.
Is that how you guys met? Is that how it happened?
That story.
Yeah, I'll tell the story, Drew. So one day, I'm a big trail runner. One day I was coming back from a run and decided to take a slightly different route than I normally take. And that route took me right past Dylan's float shop. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a float center right near me. This is amazing. It's in my neighborhood. So I burst through the door. I'm all sweaty, got my running gear on. Dylan's at the front desk. I'm like, oh, hey, do you guys do floats here? And he looks up from the desk and goes, "Shh, people are flying." And we've been best friends ever since.
Nice. Awesome.
It's like the most perfect love story ever. I love it.
Well, yeah, him being all greased up definitely helped. That's for sure. He was primed to swoon me, and yeah, the friendship blossomed and the business ideas percolated, which started out with a blog. And he was, I mean, from the very beginning, more like the technical stuff, the editing of.
I read that blog. I
Oh
read
my
that
God.
blog.
Oh, wow.
before I
OG
started.
reader.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yep.
That's weird.
Thank you for that, you guys. Thank you
Wow.
for that. I don't think without the resources from, obviously Graham and Ashcon and the crew over there at Float On and your blog, I would feel armed enough to move forward with
Yeah.
my business Float 60. So shout out. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, if you
for-
think about it, Drew, Gloria, and I all studied like everything Art of the Float before we opened. So
1,000%.
yeah,
And Brian, for people who don't know, Brian was definitely much more active before. He has a day job that
Yeah.
it kind of interferes with the podcast, but
No excuse.
but
you should quit your job, Brian, and come back.
Oh wait.
But
Oh,
Brian-
actually, funny you should say.
yeah, but Brian, when I think the podcast started in 2015, and Brian was definitely a more active part of it back then. But definitely an influence with you and the previous people, Amy and Lance. The big like I definitely owe a lot to the Art of the Float, and Brian was a part of that
100%.
original crew.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Yeah.
we're inspiring others the way they did. But
And you guys, how long have we been doing it? It's been what, going into the fourth year
like
or
6
something
months?
crazy
Oh,
like that.
really?
Since 18.
You're
Yeah.
kidding me.
Yeah,
3
too,
years.
I think it
And
was
I
like
see
late
you guys.
2018,
Forward
early
seeing you guys.
2019.
That's bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brian used to produce the show, like edit or like he used to be in every episode. Even if he wasn't talking, he was live there with every single recording. And so he could jump in at any time. Producer Brian would jump in. Oh, those are some golden years right there.
Memory
Yeah.
lane.
But going
love
back, and yeah, he had to get a damn real job and with like real hours and
no.
responsibilities.
No
So lame.
excuses.
Miss.
I
We
know
kinda
someone else
traded.
works full time and
Oh.
we make it happen. So come on, Brian. get it
Are there any
together.
updates with that,
Yep.
Brian? How's the job? How's the day job?
So I left Nike. I quit Nike.
You did?
Nice.
Yep.
Wow.
And switched to a software company, kind of local startup. They're fully remote, so I get that flexibility now. Nike was pretty
Yeah.
insistent on dragging people back into the office.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, congratulations. That sounds
Yeah.
exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun so far, and it's nice to be back in a more of a small startup environment than a giant behemoth of a massive company where it's a lot of things you got to push through to accomplish anything.
Hey, Brian, can you put on your video for a minute? This is our first video podcast episode. And
There he is.
you guys see what I fell in love with? You see it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We need some light in the
PvP.
face, guys.
I know. Sorry.
Hey,
love it.
Brian, the big winner with your job change is Vaughn. If you're home all day, he must be psyched.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty stoked. It's a pretty busy gig as well, though. So he's not getting as much dad
Wow.
hangout time as he probably wants, but
Yeah,
Aw.
better than nothing.
that's right. Cool. Well, congratulations. I'm happy
Thank
for
you,
you.
thank
If you're
you.
happy, that's awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah, man. Thanks for all the kind words too. It's so cool that all of you have been listeners from the beginning, and it's really, really cool that you're on the show now. What an amazing kind of journey.
Yeah, that is.
It is.
It is mind-boggling. My brain actually
it's
can't
crazy.
process it.
Yeah,
especially
I-
And then
when
you
people
go
bring it
another
up.
layer. But if you go another layer, the fact that Drew and Gloria and I have all been able to help other float centers get up and running as well.
Yeah.
Like it's
nuts.
just
Third
like this
generation.
really cool thing
Right.
that
Yeah,
keeps,
that's
yeah,
Baby, paying it forward.
exactly.
Brian, and keep that in front of your beautiful face there. I don't know how this video stuff works yet, but give the people what they pay for, okay? So I don't know if you were there, Brian, but we had a conversation with Amy, and Amy was like, you guys have value, because we were, I think, intimidated with Float On, Float Tank Solutions. They were starting to roll out, I think it was a business plan at the time, and maybe even helping centers open already. And we're like, they've got that. And Amy was like, you guys have a different take. Like, you guys also have things of value. You both, they have things of value, and you guys have value here. And I think maybe, I can't remember if that inspired the blog or actually podcasting, and then Amy joining the podcast, like just this snowball effect of everything happening with this community just absolutely boggles my mind. I think we lost Brian there, but it is weird to have a little retrospective moment here and think about how this all manifested.
And I know we've said it like a million times before, but there's something just so incredibly special about this industry. You know, sitting with my friends today, talking about a future where like we could, build something together, but that we also will support each other no matter what. And one of those, I told them point blank, like, if you guys ever decide to open a float center, I'm going to be there with you, walking you through the whole process, beginning to end, because like, it's not competition. Like you, and the same is true here, across the float industry, there are multiple different perspectives and different styles and, and what was created initially and what we've created together with this group of people, like it just continues to evolve and add more rather than take away from.
Yeah.
Agreed. I second that. I just experienced last weekend or last Friday, went up to visit Floatstone up in Lake Bluff, Illinois. And then I talked to Donna, Donna with a D, she just opened a True Rest in Skokie, Illinois. And I've been on the phone with her. I'm going to meet her for coffee. I mean, it's so unique, right? And I think the people who do come into the industry, they're so like cautious about how collaborative we are. They're like, wait, what's the angle here? I'm like, no, we just help each other, like for the most part, right? There are outliers, but it just was so refreshing to kind of be in it, because I am not in the day-to-day. As everybody knows, I have a day job too, and so on the weekends I do try to immerse myself as much as I can, and I was so charged by that, like just recharged by connecting. And it's something special. I can't wait until we go do this again and start getting out more and not worrying about COVID and all of that. It's just something really special. So, yeah, man. Thank you.
Very similarly, we also have another float center opening up just outside of Portland, and Sandra somehow showed up on her Instagram feed, and so she just immediately hammered out an email, messaged them. Next thing I know, we're having a tour through their build out and everything with our little girls running through their space, and I don't know if there's anything better than seeing a float center being built. It is one of the most exciting things in the world. So that was really fun. And yeah, just that sense of community, man. It's so good.
And I think about sense of community, and I know we got to wrap up soon, but we cannot leave this podcast without talking about this last thing. The Float Conference.
Yes, thank you. Yep, that's right.
Dates have been announced. Kim?
Yes, so we're going to be in Portland, Maine, the main event. You guys get it? The main event. The main event is happening August 26th through 28th. It's the last weekend of August. And we'll have the CPO workshop and the Stardust Center workshop happening before that. And pre-sale tickets actually go on sale February 1st.
No way.
We have a limited number of tickets available. And then, so yeah, a very limited number. And then like we're starting everything earlier this year. That's one of the big things that we felt like, we needed to make sure that we were getting speakers in earlier. We were sharing more information earlier, helping people make decisions. And so this is like really early in the process, but for February 1st is our pre-sale launch. Tickets will be available, and like we're doing this.
Is this conference
Portland, Maine?
Is it going to be a bit harder?
That was brilliant. Nice job. So if you
Hey.
If you don't know, James and Amy Harder are our local liaisons. They own Float Harder in Portland, Maine.
Who is this?
It's some guy,
Harder
some
guy?
guy, some girl.
I don't think I know him. What's his first name?
Jay. Yeah, something like Jay.
Jay. Yeah, I think
Jay.
I know Amy. She's a rock star, but I don't
She's
think I've ever
amazing.
met the other guy.
Yeah,
Okay, that's a
that guy.
joke for people that are listening. It's a slam on Mr. Harder. He forgot me. He forgot my name.
did.
And I was like, okay, a big F you to you
Oh.
too, baby.
Wow.
I love you. I'm just kidding, man. But anyway, I cannot wait. Portland, Maine, you guys.
Portland, Maine.
So
Portland, Maine.
pumped.
It's gorgeous. Like, I mean,
Where's
it
the
is absolutely
location?
beautiful.
I know there were some different
Yeah,
possibilities.
this is going to be. It's going to be crazy. Like, it's going to be absolutely wild. We are going to be in Cross Arena, which is the hockey arena. Like, okay, I mean, wrap your head around that. Our main stage is actually going to be where the ice is. Like, of course, there won't
no
have
way.
ice, but
Cool.
some of the sessions might take place. Like, the locker rooms are actually really, really nice and great for group meetings. I know that sounds absolutely crazy.
I'll need some
but we're-
photographic evidence of that.
Yeah.
I need a
We're
little
exploring
virtual
it.
tour.
I'm not saying yet that that's the case, but like it is a really, really cool space, and what they can do for events like ours is just amazing. And we have a lot more flexibility. Like, we'll probably be bringing in some food trucks again this year, and it's going to be just
Portland
a
has
really, really
awesome
cool
food and food
experience.
trucks. Portland, Maine,
Yeah.
right on
Maine
the
also
ocean.
does, yes.
Yeah.
If you love food,
main
seafood,
event.
absolutely delicious.
excited.
Lots of food
Yes.
trucks, funky
Lobster.
town. I would say it's
lobster.
similar to like Burlington, Vermont, a Boulder, Colorado,
So
a
excited.
kind of a Portland, Oregon, but with a little East Coast style to it. Not as
Yes.
Portland, Oregon as Portland, Oregon.
Maybe I'm ignorant.
And-
I'm on the West Coast here, but New York City is also just like 10 minutes walking distance, right? Like, you're right there. No?
Not from Portland.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's
Were
a
you gonna
solid
say, Kevin?
drive.
And it's
You're so
a gorgeous
Oregon, Dylan.
it's a gorgeous destination too. And so like lodging, we know is going to be booking up really fast. And so as soon as we launch tickets, we're also providing some recommended places that you can stay. We're going to have multiple this year, not just one hotel. We are working with multiple to give some different price points and different options for people. Airbnbs, like usually we're like begging people to come and stay at our venue because that helps us to cover some of the costs. This year is going to be a little bit different. So there will be lots of different lodging that we recommend, and just such a cool venue. We're making this like super cool. There will be an online portion as well. We learned a lot from last year. It's going to be a much more simplified experience for those who are attending online, which also means that the price point is going to be much lower for online attendance. But we're holding off on those tickets for a little while. We're not launching virtual tickets right off the bat. It'll just be for in person.
Cool.
And then we'll launch those a little bit, later down the line. But yeah, and
sneaky
similar to
exciting.
last year.
Awesome.
Yeah, similar to last year, we know COVID is unpredictable. We have no idea what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be,
Yeah,
pretty
but we're
lenient with our
going
cancellation
anyway.
policy too. Yeah,
Going.
Right.
but we're
Screw it.
going.
And if you like lobster and have never had Maine lobster, then you need to go there just for the Maine lobster because it is the best lobster in the absolute
Are
world.
you saying lobster?
Lobster.
Yeah, lobster.
Boston?
Lobster.
Lobster.
I'm trying to make
New
sure people can
Hampshire.
understand that.
He's doing us a favor.
Yeah, the lobster is really good out here.
Hey, we eat lobster here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I know they have connections to some lobster peoples.
Whoa.
And Drew,
Lobster
how,
women.
how far are we from your center, Drew?
About an hour and 20 minutes. It's not
There you go.
10 minutes
exactly close, but yeah,
Yeah.
10 minutes walking.
Cool.
10
Same
minutes
as
to
New
walk.
York.
It's fine. Yeah. But you could also,
Would
like,
be
I
fun to visit.
really, really hope some folks plan some travel around this and, like, come and enjoy the area. Maybe stop by Drew's place on the way through and then just enjoy Maine. Like, stay for a couple of extra days, stay for the fun afterwards, because there's always a group of people that, do crazy, wild, fun things on Sunday evening or even Monday or Tuesday the day after, So make it, like, take a break, enjoy life, as we were talking about earlier, like enjoy some life and really enjoy everything around the float conference too.
And if you want to make a trip out of it, if you're from out of town, Boston is a beautiful city and it is not far from Portland. So you could fly into Boston, add a couple days to where America started because a bunch of Bostonians had enough and said, we're not going to take it anymore, and threw some tea over the water and said, now what? And then we formed our independence, and they were smart enough to fight in a way that was untraditional. So we were able to beat the Revolutionary War and win the Revolutionary War and start our independence. So there's a lot of history in Boston.
History
if you want
lesson.
to-
Drew, we don't
Go-
teach
sorry.
critical independence theory here
Is this
anymore.
drunk
That's no
history?
longer
Sorry.
allowed.
I just,
Yeah.
I'm proud of my people for making our independence back in the 1700s.
Nice.
And
Love it.
you can go to Paul Revere's house and you can walk the
wow.
the trail. Yeah, the Paul Revere trail. Yeah, two if by sea, one if by night. I don't know if people know the
Wow.
history. But
We got a whole
held the lantern
Impressive
and yeah,
tour
historian.
guide here.
yeah,
Okay.
Bunker
I just
Hill.
have to
So
say, I'm so excited that people can actually like watch us on video now and see what we're all doing and like where we're trying to hold back on laughter and like,
Yeah, it does add a whole other dimension. But I actually forgot that people don't watch us and the others because we're always like
Yeah.
this, right? But
yes.
yeah, wow.
well, sometimes things are a little. Sometimes other things
Dicey.
happen. Yeah. Well,
No, everybody
always
can be
like this.
privy. It's great.
yeah. We have a
Keep it
history.
clean. Keep it clean.
That'll
Keep
be
it
for the book.
Okay, so while I talk, for anybody who's on video, if Brian's still there, he can put the camera on his dog so people can see how beautiful that doggy is.
And I love the bowl.
The
Did
bowl,
you guys
awesome bowl,
notice
because
The
bowl?
science bowl, the dog has to figure out.
Yeah, my dog has that bowl so that they don't eat
Hi,
so
Vaughn.
fast.
Don't eat
I
too
love
fast,
that,
yeah.
Brian.
Oh,
Look at
what
that
a good
sweetheart.
boy.
Okay, so
Oh my goodness.
God, for our listeners, Vaughn is now shaking Brian's hand and being a little
He's
sweet pupper.
So
Oh my
sweet.
gosh,
Like
high fiving.
that's a smart dog right there.
All right,
Very
so
smart
Vaughn's
dog.
smarter than me, Brian. Way to show it off. Anyways, so okay, we had a couple episodes recorded, a little out of sync here. I promised Drew and what was that guy's name? The Heart or something? I don't know.
Jay.
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Jimmy Harder.
John?
Yeah. John.
Is that called
Don.
I
Don
don't know what
Harder.
you're talking about, so
Von Harder. Yeah. I'd watch that movie. Ooh, maybe I wouldn't watch that movie. Anyway, Von Harder is has an episode that I would really like to get out that I promised I'd get out before the end of 2021. And
oh wait, that's the one. That's the one where he forgot my name.
So this is like Memento. You see what happens later first, and
Yeah,
then you
I
get to
love it.
see.
I
Yeah.
love it.
So
So I just have to tell this quick story, and I know we're trying to wrap up, but
not at all, Gloria. Please
sweet
go
Mr.
for it.
Harder, I can't remember his first name. He had this episode with Drew, and something must have happened. He had some kind of brain freeze and couldn't remember.
No, we were
the name.
drinking for like an hour before we started. That's what really happened. He put a few back before we started to record.
But the funniest part is, I have to give myself a pat on the back for this. He texts me and he's like, I could tell he's like sincerely like worried that I'm going to be offended. Like, are you serious? You think I'm that easily offended? He texts me and he's like, hey, I just want to give you the heads up, man. I am so sorry. I forgot your name on the podcast. And like, duh, you know,
Is that
the
how he
whole thing.
talks?
And, you know, my response, who is this? And I think he bought it. I think he legit thought I was serious. It was super cute. so.
She shared the screenshots. He totally bit. Oh,
yeah.
And you
I loved it.
You totally rickrolled him. That was amazing. And just for anybody else who's out there, if you're texting this group, whatever pictures you're sending or texts you're sending, know that we all get them. So be careful.
Hive mind right here.
Our little group chat therapy.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so not to interrupt, but I had to set that up because I just thought it was so cute. He was like so sorry, and I'm like, come on, dude, really? I don't care. It's okay.
He's a good guy.
It's
That's what I
Jimmy
hear.
Harder's
Anyway.
a good guy.
Go Don
Jimmy
Harder.
Harder.
Jimmy Harder. Let's see here. So my goal is to get that out, but I will say that while I guess you could call this a teaser episode as far as the video goes, and then Gloria and I have a nice episode. Who was our guest?
Matt Phillips.
Matt, oh yeah, that's right. We had a great conversation with Matthew Phillips.
Wonder Boy.
Yeah, man.
amazing.
Seriously,
Such a good guy, too.
He is a good guy.
Yeah.
Definitely listen to that episode, and then the videos will come back up because there's a little backlog there, and we just wanted to make sure our first episode was all of us getting back together, getting the gang back together, including BVP over there. Who I'm pretty sure doesn't
That was
like
awesome.
using that analog anymore. But anyway, go Brian. And Olga's not here tonight. I think she's sick, actually. I texted her. I was like,
She's
come
sick of
on,
us.
join the pod. And she hasn't responded because she's under the weather and it's late out there. Not for you guys, but for her. And so she's probably sleeping.
You heard
So
me. She's sick of us, is what she
yeah, that makes sense.
sick of our shenanigans. We don't listen to her. We're
circus.
She
bad
learned a
at-
lot from us in 2021. She's like,
This
boundaries.
is not for me. So thank you, Olga, for producing this show. I'm sorry you weren't on tonight to celebrate. Brian, thanks for being co-owner and founder of Art of the Float here. Thank you so much. Oh, Drew.
And check out Vaughn at Vaughn Ventures on Instagram.
Yeah,
You can follow.
some gorgeous
Thanks for the
photography of that
plug,
dog.
Drew.
And Mindful Solutions, that's 2Ls.solutions. Kim, what does Mindful Solutions do for Float Center owners?
Oh my gosh, we do a lot. We do social media. We do animated videos. We're getting ready to launch some new stuff this year, and we'll be launching brochures and posters and business cards and additional marketing resources. And then we're also going to be at some point launching some training solutions like
Nice.
employee training, communications, customer service, management, leadership, time management, like all the things. Yeah. So
Behind the scenes, you've been talking about that for a long time, and I can
Yes.
only imagine how much work goes into that because
It's a big one.
does not turn my crank, man. Good Lord, that scares me.
it's a big one.
I think just to provide a little clarification there on like the animated videos, like one of the things you can do is like an intro to your float center so people can see whether they're at home or in your lobby, watch a video. Drew, are you doing that with?
Yeah, I've finally got around to recording what I needed to record, but yeah, she's working on making a video for me, and I'm so excited, especially as I hire employees, and I do kind of worry that the same introduction is being done, and when I'm not there, I don't know that it is, but I don't have to worry about it once I have this video. I'm going to add this video to my text reminders that go out for the appointments.
Nice.
So I can send it in the original confirmation email when they book an appointment. I can put it on the website, and I can also add it to the text reminder so that when they say, oh, don't forget your appointment tomorrow, 3:15. If you haven't watched this video, you must watch this video before coming in.
Huh.
And we're going to give plenty of opportunities, because how awful is it when someone shows up 5 minutes late, it's their first time, and you need to run through an intro, and it's like, come on, you were supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. And so this video, I'm very confident and excited to be able to push that video to people. So I don't really have to do that on the day of. I can just do a brief, let's walk in, I'll point everything out, and you already watched the video, right? And hopefully people will just say, yeah, I watched that video, and go on about their business.
I will say,
Very
give them
exciting.
a pop quiz. I ask them two questions that
what
immediately
two?
tell me if they watched it or not. So we recommend not using conditioner during your pre-float shower. And so I ask them, what do you not use during your pre-float shower? And how do you know your session time is up? And
that's
those
great
two,
questions.
quick and easy, that tells me if they watched it or not. And because sometimes people are like, yeah, I watched it. And I ask that, and I'm like, did you? Well, I mean, like the first minute, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
have a seat.
Totally.
Yeah. And
Back.
but it's a game changer. I mean, it was seriously a game changer for us in a million
And
ways.
also, while we're talking about this, just so you know, it integrates, like Kim had me take pictures of my float center so that when I say, as you're floating, on your left is a handicap grab bar that has a face cloth folded over it and a spray bottle on top of it. She's going to show the picture of that, right? And show where the light. Yeah, it's really cool. And she has him on her website if you want to see an example of it, which is the one that I've shown people. Like, this is what we're going to do for our float center.
Yeah. they're so fun. They're so fun for me to create. Like, seriously, I've been working on Drew's today. And
I'm
so
next.
like before we got on, I'm like,
next.
oh my God, I love doing these. I love doing these. And I just forget how much I love doing them. Cause like, I feel like I'm in your centers, and like, I've done several of the, like a bunch of them at this point. And it's just so cool to see how different everybody is, and like what your policies are. And like, they're all, you know, unique. And I'm making it feel like I'm in your center. So I feel like I'm visiting. It's really cool.
Gloria says she's next. I'm pretty sure I'm on the queue too, but I think I also just have never recorded my audio. I think that was a plan, like when the pandemic hit.
I think I tried to get it going like in 2019.
Yeah. I actually
But
have a few people
inspired.
on
I'm
that list.
inspired. You know, I've got somebody on my team that can be the point and getting it to happen. So I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm inspired. Well done, Drew. You sold me.
Well,
And
guys,
there is Brian's face.
I promise I'm closing out the show
Yay.
here. Kim, as soon as we were like, oh, we could do video, she was like, hey, we could do live episodes with everybody watching us again. They could ask questions and stuff like that. And I first of all, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. And we used to do that. And they were really fun and successful episodes with like really cool creative questions, sometimes live asking guests. I remember Tobin Cooley, when he joined on, like people had awesome soundproofing questions and he was, man, right there to answer those. But what was wild is, can I call you BVP? Do I know you well enough to call you BVP and put it out to the entire world?
Too late now. It's out of the bag and it's kind of catchy. I can't reverse it if I try.
Brian would be behind the scenes with, I swear it was like, I don't know, like a cyberpunk scene with wires going all over the place and different softwares that we would have installed, that he'd be running behind the boards and there'd be sparks flying out so that we could have like a Facebook live videos, have people chatting with us. All the audio would be synced up properly and everything. And now apparently there is software that will make that possible for us anyway. Like, that absolutely bizarre to me that times have changed this much since Ryan's been doing that stuff manually. It's crazy. One more shout out to Brian.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, now the tools exist. It's all built into these platforms. So
Bananas. Well, we'll see if this episode actually records properly. This is our maiden voyage here. Okay, for that. Okay, thanks to Olga, thanks to Brian, Kim, Gloria, Drew. Thank you guys. It is such a damn pleasure to see you guys again. Therapy is right. It is like float therapy in person with you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys so much. And also big shout out to our sponsors. Thank you so much to Helmbot, who I'll record it for the beginning of the show when I've had less to drink about all that Helmbot can do for you. But Helmbot and Isopod, i-sopod.com. Check them out for sure. Thanks you guys so much for making the show possible, for supporting us, and for making incredible products that we truly believe in. Thank you guys. And thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for supporting us on the old Patreon. We appreciate it. We have some exciting announcements that'll come out in very early 2022. I'm biting my tongue. That is something Brian has also trained me on, is not announcing things too early. And let's see here. Beyond that, as always, it's Vaughn Ventures on Instagram.com. We will see you next week. We did it! Hey! 2022. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
So fun.
Brian, it was good to see you tonight.
dude, you as well, man. You put that hair up. Let that hair back down, brother.
Oh yeah.
know, right?
You haven't seen that in a while, huh?
No,
I got that
first thing when I joined, I was like, damn, look at that. Look at that.
For a second, I thought it was a wig. That he was
I had
just
to
gonna
go
leave
back
the
and-
band up.
Legit.
I had to
My
create
friend-
Drew's new avatar, and like I was like, oh geez, the original one I created for him forever ago, there was no hair, and now I'm like, oh, that hair's not longer.
Really funny.
But over here in the East Coast, my friends, of course, they like say I have a huge forehead. That's why I wear this, because my friends make fun of me so much.
Bro,
Those aren't your friends.
We don't.
Reveal.
Oh, man.
It was awesome.